Welcome back to True Crime Documentary YouTube channel. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we delve into a chilling and unforgettable real-life case that took place in Amman, Jordan, a land rich in tradition, cultural values, and respect for family honor. This story feels like it could only exist in the realm of fiction, yet the tragedy we'll explore today truly happened, leaving behind a haunting lesson about love, betrayal, and the limits of human endurance. In this episode, we take you on a journey into the lives of Amina and Yusuf, a couple torn apart by secrecy, infidelity, and revenge. As we uncover each twist and turn of their story, you'll see how a single moment can shatter lives, and how emotions, once unleashed, can spiral into unforeseen tragedy. Amina was born into a close-knit, traditional famille in Amman. Her upbringing was typical for many young women in her community. She was raised with values that placed family honor and reputation above all, and from a young age, she was taught to adhere to strict social and cultural norms. As the youngest daughter, Amina was her family's pride and joy, her character reflecting the upbringing her parents had so carefully instilled. She was known as a kind, gentle girl with a compassionate heart, always caring for those around her. Her family prioritized her education, both in religious principles and household skills, shaping her into the ideal image of a responsible, respectful young woman who would one day bring honor to her future family. Yet, this sheltered life came with limitations. Her world was confined to her family, close friends, and structured social gatherings, with minimal contact with the opposite sex outside her immediate family. Romantic relationships were out of the question. Her parents believed that marriage, arranged with a man they approved of, would be her first experience of love. As she reached her early 20s, Amina's family began seeking a suitable match for her. For Amina, this path was not unusual or unexpected. She accepted her role with a sense of duty, ready to fulfill her family's expectations. When Yusuf entered her life, he seemed like the ideal match. Yusuf was a mature, established man from a respected family in Amman. He worked as an executive in the finance sector, a career that afforded him stability, respect, and a steady income. Yusuf had been raised with similar values to Amina and held his family's reputation in high regard. Known for his calm, disciplined demeanor, Yusuf was seen as the embodiment of tradition and integrity, the kind of man who would uphold family honor above all. When he met Amina, he was captivated by her gentle nature and humility, qualities he believed would make her a perfect wife and a suitable partner in building a respectable family. Their wedding in 2015 was a beautiful affair, attended by family, friends, and community members who all believed this was the beginning of a harmonious life. Amina entered her new life with hope and excitement, believing she was taking her place in a supportive, loving marriage. Initially, the couple's life appeared fulfilling. Yusuf provided her with comfort and stability, and Amina dedicated herself to making their home a place of warmth and peace. However, as time passed, Yusuf's professional demands grew. As a senior manager, he often worked long hours, traveled frequently for business, and became increasingly consumed by his career ambitions. Amina, left at home, began to feel the impact of his absence. What once felt like a stable foundation for their life together began to feel more like a distant, empty partnership. She spent her days alone, waiting for Yusuf to return home, but when he did, he was often preoccupied, his thoughts still lingering on work. As more time went by, their plans to start a family became a source of quiet frustration. Yusuf, ever the pragmatist, believed that it was better to focus on his career for a few more years before thinking about children. But for Amina, the lack of children only deepened her loneliness. Without a child to care for, her days felt empty, and she began to feel like a quiet shadow in the home they shared. She longed for companionship and emotional connection, but Yusuf's focus remained on his professional life, leaving her to fill the void in silence. It was during this period that Amina met Rami, a neighbor in their residential complex. Rami was kind, soft-spoken, and always willing to lend a hand to those around him. Their first encounters were brief and polite, small gestures, like holding the door open or exchanging pleasantries in passing. Yet as their interactions continued, Amina found comfort in Rami's friendliness. He listened to her stories and offered her warmth, showing interest in her thoughts and feelings in a way that Yusuf no longer did. Over time, these small exchanges became meaningful to Amina, a reminder that someone noticed her and cared about her well-being. Rami, sensing Amina's loneliness, also grew close to her. The boundary between friendly acquaintance and something more began to blur as they shared more personal stories, exchanging moments of vulnerability that Amina had never shared with anyone outside her family. These connections blossomed in secret, driven by mutual understanding and an emotional bond that neither of them could deny. For Amina, Rami's presence became a respite from the isolation of her marriage, and as days passed, their meetings grew more frequent, even if they both knew the risk. But one day, in a seemingly innocent moment, Amina visited Rami's home. They believed they were discreet, choosing a quiet time when no one else would see them. Yet, unbeknownst to them, a neighbor caught a glimpse of Amina entering Rami's home. Suspicion brewed, and the neighbor, driven by a sense of duty to protect the community's honor, reported this sighting to Yusuf. When Yusuf learned about the encounter, he was shocked and devastated. Yet his response was not one of immediate anger. Known for his composure and self-control, Yusuf channeled his emotions into a meticulous plan. Rather than confronting Amina, he chose to observe and gather evidence to confirm the betrayal. Over the next few weeks, he installed hidden cameras in their home, positioning them in places he knew Amina would never suspect. As the footage confirmed his worst fears, his heartbreak gave way to a calculated fury. Then came the fateful day. Yusuf could no longer keep his anger contained. He confronted Amina, his calm demeanor replaced with cold, seething rage. The woman who once knew him as a composed, caring husband now stood before a man transformed by betrayal. Yusuf unleashed his fury, demanding answers, but Amina, overwhelmed with fear and guilt, could only stand in silence. Yet Yusuf was far from finished. His vengeance took a sinister turn as he devised a plan to use Amina to lure Rami into a trap. Under Yusuf's orders, Amina was forced to call Rami, pretending that nothing was wrong. She requested a meeting in a secluded location on the outskirts of the city. Terrified but left with no choice, Amina complied. Rami, unsuspecting, agreed to meet her, oblivious to the danger awaiting him. When Rami arrived, he found Amina waiting, but the horror of the situation became evident as he saw Yusuf standing beside her, his face darkened with malice. Yusuf's vengeance took an unimaginable turn as he forced Amina to participate in an act of retribution that shattered her completely. She was coerced into committing acts she would never have imagined in her darkest nightmares, all while Rami bore the brunt of Yusuf's wrath. After this brutal encounter, Amina, broken and traumatized, went to the police, her hands shaking as she recounted every horrifying detail. She told the officers of the threats, the coercion, and the violent actions Yusuf had forced her into. Her story sent shockwaves through the authorities, and they immediately launched a manhunt for Yusuf. Meanwhile, Yusuf, aware of the consequences, tried to flee the country. He made his way to the airport, thinking he could escape judgment. But the police were quick, issuing a warrant and placing security on high alert. As Yusuf approached the boarding gate, police officers closed in, arresting him before he could escape. The case quickly became a topic of intense public interest, with people across Jordan captivated by the brutal, tragic nature of the events. Yusuf was charged with violence, coercion, and premeditated assault, while Amina faced charges related to her involvement in the affair. The trial, held under Jordanian law, drew significant media attention, as both Yusuf and Amina faced the cultural and legal consequences of their actions. In court, Yusuf's violent retribution was condemned, and he was sentenced to life in prison. The court's ruling reflected the severity with which Jordanian society viewed both the act of violence and the betrayal that triggered it. Amina, too, faced punishment, receiving a sentence for her part in the affair, a painful reminder of the social and cultural expectations she had defied. This tragic story serves as a powerful warning, a reminder of how secrets, betrayal, and anger can unravel lives, leaving only pain and sorrow in their wake. In societies where family honor is paramount, this case highlighted the cultural and emotional complexities that arise when personal desires clash with deeply held values. What are your thoughts on this haunting case? Do you believe the punishments for Yusuf and Amina were justified? We'd love to hear your perspectives on this story and the complex emotions that led to its tragic conclusion. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for joining us in exploring this deeply unsettling story. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Be sure to check out our other videos for more captivating stories. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.